As a first-time attendee, I signed myself up for this, and after 4 days of chart, let's be honest, people, we're not all exactly, crisp? Is that a good word? So I'm feeling the crispness today, but I'm here to talk about happiness in the workforce and just some ideals that we see and why happiness is good. Or at least, I guess, better than the alternative. Who knows who Gordon Gekko is in this room? Raise your hands, right? Do you remember those words? And I wish I had suspenders and like the big collared shirt, but I don't. But his words in, 80s capitalism is, greed is good. Ladies and gentlemen, for lack of better words, greed is good. Okay, so that was good back in the 80s. But maybe not so much today. So a lot of what we think about is bringing happiness. And it's something we've sort of adopted in our credo at Wisetail, is understanding, we're not just a business in software, but really how do we make it a business of engagement and engaging your employees, not so much just saying, here's the giant stick and I'll be swatting you, but actually dangling that big carrot instead. So, let's think about happiness. Happiness is good, right? Right? Yeah, okay, happiness is good. And we want people to like their jobs. And what we're seeing is this sort of fundamental shift in how people think about it and why it's important and how you do this. And we believe, just from our own personal, is an engaged workforce, and how do you engage those people to be happy and do the things that we like them to do. Obviously, if you love your job, that has a lot of benefits just personally, but as a company, we think about it too. There's going to be some benefits there. Obviously, ROI, profits, 80s aren't totally dead, right? But also just engaging your employees, making them, celebrating them, and recognizing them in a very different way than it was maybe 20, 30 years ago, okay? And I'm burning through this because I feel like I'm on a very, very short time schedule, so bear with me here. Whoops. Wrong button. So the first thing we talk about are core values and why that's important. Obviously, there's a lot of things that make up our companies, but we want to be explicit about telling these stories. And obviously raising awareness around not only core values, but also your brand. And bringing those two together, because we know how important those are to the overall, but also being explicit and explaining them, letting your people feel like they're part of something, and also just making it, a part of their fabric, because it is basically an extension of themselves. We just think, that is a crucial piece to every sort of employee experience, and therefore driving that engagement, making them feel part of the brand as an extension, therefore making them happy. They are your number one brand ambassador, so you got to make sure, being cool isn't just cool, but making it, again, sort of part of that overall fabric as you portray yourself. It could be in the environment, it could be in the way you wear your t-shirts tucked in, how that table is set together. But again, your employees are your best brand ambassadors. No better brand in the world, and I could show you Google, I could show you Nike, I could show you Apple. I'm going to show you this. Portrays that sort of brand equity than the U.S. Marine Corps. I'm not a Marine, just FYI. I just am talking about them today, but courage, honor, commitment, all those things make up their message. And if you ask any former Marine, they can explicitly tell you about those certain things. So again, creating a brand, but also a sense of community, a sense of tribe. Your employees can smell a fake, right? Anywhere you go, if you're not explicit and if you don't tell these stories and have this sort of continual education around your brand, it's not going to be authentic. So we've been lucky enough to work with a company called Zoes Kitchen. I'm sure you guys are familiar with it. Based out of Dallas. Awesome company, upwards of 130 stores. And they play in that fast casual segment around Mediterranean cuisine, yada, yada, yada. But with our implementation with them, which is called LifeWorks, we not only use it as a training platform, but really an enculturation platform. And again, telling these more brand-specific ideals, again, sort of bringing these people in, making them believe in something a little bit different. So in Greek, Zoes means life, just FYI. And we had an opportunity to work with them, like I said, but most exclusively with their CEO, Kevin Miles. And this is a guy, I'm not going to lie, isn't afraid to go out and mix it up at night and be crisp, like I said, the next day. But what was really cool talking with him is really about the sort of fundamentals, about the things they're trying to teach their employees, that not only just the basics, but one of them was Southern hospitality. If you guys didn't know this, they are in Dallas now, but they were born in Birmingham, Alabama. And Kevin's a Texas guy through and through, and he really, values the importance of hospitality, that Southern piece. It's something you've been taught at a young age, maybe by your grandmother, but it's the way you treat people, not just customers, but it's your guests. And the importance of that when hiring someone, but sustaining that type of mentality as you progress in your career along with these guys. So something really unique and fun and really core to a brand that people just think sells gyros, right? If you guys are familiar with the lean manufacturing theory, the basis around is this continuous improvement, or Kaizen is what they like to call it. This is, the idea of bringing those brand advocates, having those core values, being engaged and happy, and all those different things you're continuously culling that information from your experts. So why not listen and get the best possible information from them to run more efficiently, like, lean manufacturing. I won't go into that completely, so we'll move on. Another thing is around empowerment. Transparency is the new green, and this kind of goes in with the Kaizen as well, is that you gotta listen. You gotta be important to, bring your your customers together, but also more importantly, your employees are telling you things that are, very much looking not so much from the top down, but from inside that, really behind the curtain. And having that transparency is so crucial as you sort of move through the different nuances of your business. The last thing we'll talk about, and this guy's great, anyone like this, is the ways of learning. This is sort of focused around, I like my phone better than you. You have to give the proper tools to your employees to make them learn, because we know that they learn in different ways. A generation ago, it may have been a manual. It may have been a 3-ring binder. It may still be that way. I don't know. But for the most part, everyone's checking their phone. They've got a tablet. There's just different ways, opposed to just being in a classroom. We have to give them the tools to be able to do that. What's the point? I mean, if you've got something that looks like a tax code, is that really that engaging? You want your employees to be happy, right? But looking at this and basically going along a table of contents and looking beyond that, isn't that exciting? So let's create something a little different. And again, that can be consumed from a multitude of different ways. So in conclusion, again, we want to make sure our employees are happy. We want to engage them in a number of different ways. We're constantly listening, and therefore it's going to be beneficial as you sort of look at that overall engagement strategy, looking ahead, and subsequently you'll find success. Thanks so much.